With this photograph, we're going to look at a technique that we can use in order to create vintage or antique color. Now, this image was captured down in Mexico this last summer, and I love how this guy is walking to the beach, and I love how in Mexico there's so much authenticity and texture. And I want to bring some of that out in this photograph by changing the overall color and tone. In order to accomplish this technique, we only really need to create a few layers. Well, the first layer we want to create is a black and white adjustment layer. So let's click on the black and white adjustment layer icon. Next, with the target adjustment tool, simply click in your image and drag to the right or the left in order to modify a few areas of the photograph. And here I'm just going to change a few areas in order to come up with a more interesting black and white conversion. The next thing that we want to do is kind of interesting. We're going to target the background layer, and we're going to duplicate this layer by pressing Command or Control J. Next, let's go ahead and name this layer Color, because this will be the layer which will bring back all of our colors there, but it will bring them back in a muted, antique, vintage kind of way. Well, what we're going to do with this color layer is we're going to drag this to the top of our layer stack. Next, we're going to change this blending mode to soft light. Now, this is where the magic will really happen. Here, we'll go to our blending mode pull-down menu, and then we'll simply select soft light. Now, when we do that, we all of a sudden have this completely different photograph. Take a look. Here's the overall before and then after. All right, well, at this juncture, what else could we do? Well, something that might be nice would be to perhaps burn down some detail or brighten some details. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's create a new layer. Press Shift-Command-N on a Mac, Shift-Control-N on Windows. Change that layer to soft light. We'll go ahead and call this layer Burn and Dodge. Next, we'll press the B key to select our brush tool. Here I'll paint with white, nice low opacity. I'm just going to paint with white over the window, kind of brightening that up a bit. And also a few other little areas here. Brighten up his feet there. And then I'll press the X key to exchange those two colors. So now I can paint with black, and I'll darken up a couple other areas. Again, just looking to try to create a little bit more dimension or depth here, just adding to the overall photograph in some pretty subtle ways. Adding a bit more texture there on the walls. I darken that up and just kind of interrupting things a little bit. All right, well, now that we've done that, let's take a look. There's that before and then after. Just simple burning and dodging. Well, another thing that might be kind of fun to do here would be to modify the color perhaps even more. One way to simply do that would be to click in our layers here. Like this black and white layer, we can lower the opacity and bring back some of the original color. Or we can go to this color layer and decrease that and have even less color. In this case, it's even more muted. Well, what else could we do with the color? Well, sometimes images that are old are a bit yellowed. So it might be nice to add a touch of yellow here. Let's click in our topmost layer, and then we'll go ahead and choose Color Balance. In this case, we'll go to our highlights, and we'll just add a little bit of yellow into the image. And perhaps a little bit of red there. Nope, I don't think that looks good. Let's leave it as is. I'll go into my midtones, maybe warm those up a little bit, perhaps add a touch of magenta as well. Now, this is a subtle adjustment, but take a look at it. There's that before and then after, kind of adding to this overall aged or antique type of aesthetic. If we want to go further, we'll duplicate your color balance layer. Press Command or Control J. There you have double the intensity. If that's too strong, try your blending mode. Try out soft light. So again, just experiment with how you work with color. Now in this case, I think this last layer is a little bit over the top, so I'm going to just turn that one off. But here you can see how we can really easily modify color and then use some of our other techniques in order to push the image even further. Well, most importantly, what I want you to pick up is this technique down here, where we start off with a black and white conversion, and then we bring the original layer up to the top and change that blending mode to soft light, because really that's where all the magic happened. Let's take a look. Here's the original file, the conversion to black and white, and then when we brought in that top layer and changed that blending mode to soft light, really that's what's interesting, right? That before and then after. And then if we turn on some of our other layers, we can see the overall before and after. Here it is, before and then after. At this glance, I think I have too much yellow in there, so I'm just going to lower that just for my own sanity. I think I have to back that off there a bit. All right, that looks good. Before and then after.